Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Thursday morning, evening, night. Want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well this season. I got a word for you. Tap in. Happy Thursday evening, guys. So, I just got home, but okay. So I want to respond to this email. Now, sis, you're going to hear this email. You can choose to comment if you want, but I never ever, all caps, never call names. So she asked me to make this recording, and I replied back to her and told her that I have about 13 requested topics, recordings prior to hers. So it's going to probably take me about a couple of weeks to get to her topic. But then when I read a follow-up email, I got convicted to make this recording. For one, because I can tell she's in a very, 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 very dark place. And we're going to bind that up in a minute. And also because 4 or 5 of those requested recordings are very, very, very similar to her topic. So I figure really quickly, before I go on, I'm going to make this recording. But before I do, I want to read her email really quickly. Bear with me, because there's going to be a lot of thumps while I pull up this email. I'm going to read it to you guys. Hi Kizzy, can you do a video on confirmations from God that a man was your husband and then the relationship falls apart? I prayed and fasted to God asking if this man is not supposed to be in my life, to please remove him. The guy was telling me he loved me and wanted to marry me. Then after 10 months he ghosted me. I'm so confused. I know God gave me confirmations. I don't know what happened. I'm so hurt. I don't want to lose my faith. It's all I ever had. I've been in heavy spiritual warfare for the last year and a half. I've begged God for relief and mercy, and now this. I've been begging him to let me die. I'm so exhausted and tired. First and foremost, we're going to bind that up in the name of Jesus. We're going to rebuke that spirit of suicide. We're going to break that spirit of depression. We're going to break that spirit of exhaustion, and so on and so forth. However, I'm not dismissing your feelings, right? I hear you and I feel you. I do. But I'm very careful with my wordings, and we don't claim certain things regardless of how you feel, right? I'm also very aware. I'm a very perspective thinker, and I can God has blessed me with the gift to receive things from different perspectives, even when I can't understand it. For example, you could never even get me to think about unaliving myself behind a man. Not when there's a man on every corner, not literally, but you get my point here, right? That's not my lowest spot, right? Because I know what I carry, period. But then there are other things. There's 1 or 2 other things in my life that are my low spots that will take me to that mindset, not thinking about unaliving myself per se, but take me to that very dark spot where you are. So I understand I understand that you're in a low place right now. But we still want to be very careful with our words. You got to be careful with your words, especially when you're at a low place, because that's where the enemy wants you. He wants you to start coming into agreement with the thoughts that, let me tell you something, when you're in a dark season, intrusive downloads will plague you. The enemy will start putting downloads in your head to mess with your mind. But if you don't get up and you don't rebuke those thoughts, if you don't plead the blood against the thoughts, you will start to come in alignment with the thoughts. Remember, it's all about alignment, right? It's all about alignment. So you have to be in alignment with God's word, not the enemy's word. Because now you're siding with the enemy and you're in alignment, right, for certain things to manifest. So we're going to rebuke that first and foremost. But I feel you and I hear you and I sympathize with you. But not behind a man. We ain't doing that. I'll come pick you up right now, sis. We ain't doing that. I'm just trying to like make it, a little lighter. Okay, let's break down your email really quickly. Okay, I asked for God, and then if the man was my husband, and then all of a sudden the relationship falls apart. I prayed and fasted to God, asking if this man was not supposed to be for me, please remove him. Okay, I want to give you props for even going to God. Because let me tell you something, one of the most powerful things you can do, a lot of people don't want to do it because they don't want to hear the true answer, but one of the most powerful things you can do is go to God and literally say, and I mean it from your heart. Well, you better mean it from your heart, because if you ask God to do something, honey, I asked God for patience 17 years ago, and I'm so tested every day with patience. When you go to God and you ask God for something, you better know what you're doing, because woo, right? So you went to God and asked God, if this desire is not from God, to take it away. That is the most powerful thing you can do when you feel like you have confusion. Is this God? Is this a familiar spirit? Is it my own flesh? If you go to God and literally from all of your heart say, God, I am tired. I don't want this desire if it's not from you. Take it from me. Either God is going to remove that desire, and let me tell you this, because again, sometimes we ask God for things and then we expect it will return in the way that we assume, meaning God will just take the desire from you. No, God may allow that man to leave you and never look back, right? And then our little heart and our emotions are all over the place, but then God is like, I didn't tell you I was going to do it the way you thought I would do. You just told me to take the desire. You can't control the narrative on how I remove the desire. So it could be, I don't know, I have to dig further as I continue to talk to you. It could be when you ask God to remove this desire, then that's why he left. Could be. But we can't control the narrative on how it happens. Now, our little hearts are all over the place, like, God, oh my God, why am I hurting? Why am I going through this? And then God's like, but you asked me to reveal to you. And then we're like, but I didn't ask you to break my heart, right? But then, no, we can't control the narrative. Or, on the flip side, well, before I dive into that, let me stay on track with your email. I prayed and fasted, asked God to remove him. The guy was telling me he loved me and wanted to marry me. Then after 10 months, he ghosted me. Okay, again, he could have ghosted you because God is giving you your answer that was not from him. Or, see, only prospective thinkers can get me. Can receive me, I should say, because God have graced me and blessed me with perspective thinking, meaning I can see, receive, and even understand something, even if I personally don't agree with it, but I can receive it from different angles. All right, so either God had the man leave you because it was never from God and you asked God, right, to reveal, and that's the way God revealed. Or it could very well be that God showed you, however God showed you, that this man is your husband. Because let me just tell you something, God will show a woman, right? You're not to act on it per se, right? Because he still needs to find you. But God can show and will show a woman, whoever her purpose partner, kingdom spouse, whatever you deem the term to be. But it doesn't mean it's for the timing that you assume. It could be for an ordained timing. But because God gave you something in your spirit or through a vision, whatever happened, you assume God meant is for now. Sometimes God will even allow you to encounter that person and pull it back. It makes no sense to the average eye. It makes no sense to somebody who's not blessed with, or I don't want to say blessed because I don't want to make it seem like I always try to be careful with my words, and then sometimes God convicts me like, just say what I tell you to say. Right? Blessed with spiritual insights, right? For different reasons. Again, the perspective thinker in me, like I feel pinging from left, right, up, or down, because there's so many ways God wants me to hit this, because like I feel like there are more people who are listening that need to receive it from a different perspective, but I'm trying to stick with yours. But my perspective and my spirit is pinging in so many different directions, and I'm trying to verbalize what I feel in my spirit. All right, so some people are not good at staying focused. Let it be through adult ADHD or just fight or flight, things like that. So sometimes God will show you something to keep you grounded and to keep you focused, because he know if he doesn't give you a vision, you will go and you will probably take the first proposal, or like try to concoct some kind of other narrative of a destiny that's not from God, because he hasn't shown you a vision of what is to come. So he has to show you that to keep you grounded, so you don't go running off someplace else, and when the vision is actually ready, you're not there in alignment to receive it. Sometimes God will show you something in advance, but he needs to process many things, including you, to prepare you for the vision. Sometimes God will show you things and he don't show you that on the other side, this person got more demons than you can even imagine. And if he don't correct and work on the same way God had to process you, what God had to process other people. Like, we ain't the only one who needs to be processed. Right? So if God is calling two people to come together, there's areas that he have to work on you with, and only you know your own process, right? That's between you and God, whatever. But then there's things on the other side. This person may have more demons than you even know about. This person may have demons that you yourself keep trying to fix. You keep trying to make him be faithful. You're trying to make him go to church. You're trying to make him, right? You see all these perspectives, and not perspectives, but you what's the word when you see the best in somebody else but they can't see them themselves? Potential. You see all these potential, like, and women are bad for that, right? You see all this potential on what he can be, and he may be a great person, he may have a great heart, all this stuff, but you see all this potential and all this stuff, but you're overlooking red flags that can actually be certain demons that only God can work on prior to bringing this thing together. So now there's a whole delay of a process. You're frustrated because you feel like you did everything on your part. You went to counseling, you worked on your mouth, you work on your femininity, you work on this, you work on that, right? So you did your part, and now you're frustrated with God because it's like, well, why would you show me something? I'm waiting on you, and you show me this man. We've been together for a few months, and now all of a sudden, the whole relationship falls apart. You lied to me. No, that don't mean he lied to you, right? He may not always give you the details of what he's doing. That's what faith is all about. This is why you have to know that you know in your spirit. This is when you don't take advice from other people. When you know that you know, you go and seek wise counsel when truly you really, really feel like you're confused. And then God will convict you and tell you, go talk to your pastor, go talk to this person or that person. But sometimes God will drop something in your spirit and tell you, don't tell the soul. I don't care how confused you feel. This is between me and you. I will process you along the way. I will give you enough of what you need. I will tell you if and when to go speak to somebody about it, and blase, 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 this, that, and the third. So there's many things could be going on. The relationship could have dissipated because you asked God to reveal to you. If he's not from you, remove him. So he removed him. Or he allowed those couple of months to happen just to introduce you to something that is coming into your life. He pulled it back because he only showed it to you to show you what you're working towards. Now he's working and processing you. He has to process the other side. You got giants in the land. You got giants in the territory. You have to build your faith. You have to build your power, because there are certain things you already know that the enemy attacks marriages, or anything that's ordained, the enemy is going to attack. So there's things that God have to literally work on in between the lines. The worst thing, well, one of the worst things you can do is if you're trying to start other things, let it be other relationships or for the other people who is not a relationship for you per se, but it's maybe a business or a ministry. You're trying to start other things and God keeps shutting everything down, but you keep ignoring it and you keep trying to push yourself past the convictions to just be still. Sometimes God just needs you to be still, but because being still doesn't feel good, we want to go and we want to create and try to fix, or trying to push doors down, trying to start something new, when sometimes God is just telling you, be still. The next sentence was, the guy was telling me he loved me and wanted to marry me. Then 10 months later he goes to me. Child, listen. And I don't know this man from a can of paint. I'm sure he's a great guy, but as far as him telling you that he loves you and want to marry me, listen, these men will tell you anything, honey. Let me just tell you, these men will tell you absolutely anything. He may have meant it. I don't know. I don't know him, but words are words. I'm a person. I don't go by words. I mean, I can listen and I can receive what people are saying to me, but I don't take it to heart. Your actions have to line up with your words. If your actions don't line up with your words, then your words just kind of fall off me like oil and water. I'm just gonna be honest there. So it really just depends on his actions, because if his action says he want to marry you, then he just wouldn't ghost you 10 months later. Now keep in mind, this is if God has not called for that ghosting, because there are other things that need to be done in the spiritual side of things. But just from the fleshly side of things, if he's ghosting you, then his actions are not lining up. Also, I'm a woman who believes in accountability, right? I know a lot of people, men and women, don't really believe in accountability. Again, perspective thinker here, just one perspective out of many. Is there anything in your own personal actions that could have caused him to ghost you? Not even that you did anything intentionally, but keep in mind, you have a lot of damaged people out here, including men and women are very damaged. Let's just say he had an ex-wife. His ex-wife cheated on him, left him, hurt him. Let's just say he had a crappy mother. Every person didn't have a great nurturing relationship with their mother as a child. So let's just say he have issues. He's been hurt really bad in his past. That last relationship or that first marriage really broke him down. Okay. And here you are with your beautiful heart, with your beautiful spirit, loving on him the way that you weren't a wife yet, but the way that a fiance or a wife or whatever should love on her man. the way that you think you should love on him, the way that society says a woman should this, that, and the third. Okay, right. So you're doing it the right way. If he's broken, he can't receive that. If you're healed and you're whole, and you're coming from an authentic, genuine place, and you have a lot of energy when it comes down to love and nurturing, you will literally run off a person who is damaged and who is unhealed. And it makes no sense, because you would feel like, well, if a person is damaged and unhealed, they would run to a person who feels safe. But it doesn't always happen that way. Safe attracts safe. Or should I say, safe feels safe around safe. If you're safe and you have all this love and all this scriptures and this and this and that and all the third, and if he's broken and damaged, he's going to run from you. And you're going to interpret that thing as is something about you, meaning, am I not beautiful enough? And am I, this ain't good enough? This, that, and third ain't good enough. This ain't good enough. This ain't good enough, right? Picking yourself apart, and it actually has nothing to do with you. So many people, if they will realize that a lot of the times when a person rejects you, it has nothing to do with you. It's the person. They're running from you. They're running from healthy love. They don't want to ever love again. They don't want to ever be vulnerable or open their self up again. So when they first met you, it's almost like, well, okay, wow, we got some chemistry, but I'm not going to let my guards down. But listen, when you be around certain people, you can hold those guards up so you think all you want. But those guards will start to come down unintentionally. And so what happened is, when they start to feel like, wait a minute, I'm liking you too much, they'll run. They'll run. And don't even tell you why they ran, right? So here you are thinking it's something about you when you're doing wrong, and you're beating yourself up. And all along, it's him or her with their own trauma triggers and their own trauma responses. When it comes down to that, the only thing, all caps, only thing you can do is allow God to work on them. But what do we do as people? Men or women, you want to go and chase, and you want to go and love on them more, and you want to go and try to make them feel safe more and prove to them that you're the safe one. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's nothing you can say or do that's going to make them feel that. God to clip them up. God to clip them up. When it's ordained, you don't have to do anything. You just stand. Your hardest part is just going to be to stand and trust God when God tells you to be still. A lot of the times when you're required to be still, God is working on the other side. Sometimes God has to snatch the rug and clip people up. And that's not always a pretty sight, because it comes in different ways, right? Sometimes that's a hospital stay. Sometimes that's, they got to get their heart broken on with whatever else they're chasing. They got to get their heart broken. Like, there's a lot of things that God has to do that you're trying to do. And when you keep trying to get your hands in it, God's going to fall back. So now we're trying to figure out, well, where's God? Where's God? Where's God? Where's God? And God went silent because he done told you to sit your behind still. He done told you to sit your behind still, but yet you're still calling. You're still trying to prove, and you're trying to do this and this. And he's like, okay, if you got it, do what you do, boo. Right? But when you take your hands off of everything, and it's a process, of course, right? You got to bump your heads a few times. When you take your hands up off of it and you focus on you, most importantly, you focus on the things that God needs you to focus on. God will tell you right now, don't worry about this. I need you to be doing this, that, and the third. Start the ministry if he's telling you. He may tell you to be still, don't do anything. But he'll tell you very clear what he needs you to work on. Focus on you and what God needs you to do, and let God handle whatever God needs to do. If he's not from God, God won't let that desire come back. Now, different perspective here. You got to also be careful, because sometimes a seed of rejection will have you craving the very thing or the very person that's rejecting you, even though God is saying that, no, this is not for me. Meaning God have took the desire, but because you may have, not you, but I'm speaking in general here, you may have a seed of rejection, and the seed of rejection will have you trying to prove, right, and get the approval of the person who rejected you. So the desire may be gone, but then your flesh may still be trying to prove a point, because you're trying to get the approval to fill that wound of rejection. So this is why I always say you got to know how to turn your spirit off. I'm sorry, never turn your spirit off, right? Turn your flesh off and tap into the spiritual realm, because the spiritual realm will never lie to you. Your flesh will always lie to you. So you asking God to take desire is actually turning your flesh off. Most people won't do that. After 10 months, he goes to me. I'm so confused. I know God gave me confirmations. When it is from God, God will give you confirmations. Again, make sure this is spirit, not flesh. God will give you confirmations along the way, along the journey, along the process. Again, he can show it to you, and then he can know that you're going to hit certain delays, you're going to hit certain challenges. So what he'll do is, during some points, things will line up, and it will all make sense, and it will start to seem like things are unfolding, and then all of a sudden, boom, you hit a halt. And it's like, but I don't understand, because for 3 months, I saw nothing but fruit. Everything made sense. Everything was great. Everything felt like it was flowing. And then, boom, it's a halt. Right? Whatever that halt may be, in your case, he ghosted you. Right? So, I personally feel like when you're spiritually tapped in and you really, really feel like, seriously, God has given you confirmations, I personally also feel like that's a clear sign too that it is God, because God's just not going to give you fruits and I'm talking about fruits, like seriously, fruits that make sense, fruits that grew in one season, and just because he went quiet in another season, or things are no longer progressing in this very moment, that doesn't mean that it's not God. No. If you're spiritually connected and you see massive amounts of fruits, just because things got silent on you, don't mean like you heard God wrong. You may have just hit a halt. I don't know what happened. God gave me confirmation. I don't know what happened. I'm so hurt. I don't want to lose my faith. It's all I ever had. I've been in heavy spiritual warfare for the past 1.5 years. I've begged God for relief and mercy. And now this. It says spiritual warfare. Here's the thing. The majority of people who are just peopling, just your average everyday people, right? No disrespect to them. They're people. Just like you. Will tell you about the warfare they're going through. They won't just tell you they're going through warfare. They will break it down and tell you everything that's coming to get. Listen, anybody with some spiritual knowledge, you got to be careful what you speak in. You can't tell people I'm going through. I'm not speaking about your situation here, but let's just say you're going through massive amounts of warfare. There's 50 things that you're going through. You have people who will go and tell everybody they know, their co-workers, their friends, they will break it down word from word and tell everybody every piece of the warfare, what's attacking them, what's going on. You got to be so careful, because you can tell people certain things, and the very same people that claim they're praying for you, they're praying against you. And now you're trying to figure out, why is this warfare intensifying? It's because, first of all, the demonic realm got some power, right? We're not going to deny that. They can't touch you per se, but they can create a lot of stuff. They can create some delays because you've spoken on something God told you not to speak about. They can create some, so it's best to just close your mouth, unless, of course, God tells you to get wise counsel, Or of course, if you got some very spiritually grounded people that you know are your peoples in your life that you go and you speak certain things about. But I say all that to say that I think, and this is just me guessing number wise, just from people I know and just from things I feel, I think probably about 85%, 90% of people who are spiritually aligned are going through warfare right now. Now, there's different levels of warfare depending on the size of the blessings and things like that. But I think most people are going through some kind of warfare. Sometimes when you're going through warfare, you will literally think, because it feels so isolated, it feels like it's only like you're the only one going through it, right? Because again, most people won't speak on it if they're spiritually wise. They won't speak on it. They may just say, I'm going through some warfare, but they're not going to really get into details about it. So it makes you feel so isolated that you're the only person going through it. So don't feel like you're the only person going through warfare within the last year and a half. There is fierce spiritual warfare going on right now, because the enemy know his time is up. The enemy know that there is a lot of people whose open doors are literally around the corner. So he's trying everything, and he's gonna hit you like in this kind of season where so many open doors are about to open, and God is advancing people at an accelerated rate for different reasons. He's gonna hit you in the area that makes you buckle. Remember I said earlier, it's different areas for different people. For some people it's not love, because it's like, listen, you tripping, you can go, because like it's a whole line of them waiting for you to mess up, right? For some people it's not love. For some people it's their children, right? For some people it's their career, because they provide for their family. So he's going to hit you, whatever the area is for you. He's going to target, for some people it's grief. He's going to target and hit you in that area. You always know the size of your breakthrough and how close you are when the enemy starts attacking you. The size of his the size of his attack. Because certain attacks you might get a bump on your toe. Other attacks, he might broke your knee. Other attacks, he might hit your knee and your shoulder. But then there are some attacks, a whole building falls literally from your head and crush you from your head to your toe. Right? So there's different levels of warfare depending on the size of your blessings and how close you are. So you're not the only one going through warfare. I hope to encourage you to know that the type of warfare that you're going through is an indication of how big your blessing is going to be. So to summarize really quickly, sis, because I know I went so many, my spirit just keeps saying, speak on this, speak on that, speak on this, because it's not only you who will listen to this, but overall, you did the right thing by asking God to remove the desire from you. Again, if it's from God, that desire will not return. So be sure that whatever you're feeling, this emptiness and this hurt you're feeling, be sure that that's not a seed of abandonment or rejection or anything that your flesh is dealing with versus your spirit, right? If it's your spirit, again, it will keep haunting you. Even if God removed that thing for a week, for a month, it will always find you. It will haunt you. Even when you try to go on, it will keep finding you. Again, God will start closing doors left to right. Nothing you do will work. You will get so frustrated because everything you try to do, people that you try to meet or things you try to start, he will literally start shutting every door until you find the door that he needs you to access. That will be the area that he needs you to work on specifically right now for you. And that area will be something that you actually need for whatever door he opens next. As a human, fleshly being, Don't worry about what this man is doing, meaning if he's going to meet somebody else, is he doing this, is going to be another woman going to take my place. Let me tell you something, honey. Whatever is for you is for you. And the same way God is shutting doors on you and you can't move or go anywhere else, if this man is for you, the same thing will happen. Nothing he do will work. He can meet somebody, it's not going to work. The woman will leave him. Broke his little heart, right? He can try to go to, I ain't getting into all that, but nothing, the same way things won't work for you, God will keep clipping things up on his end. I think as humans, we want to keep trying to control the narrative. We think if we do this, we can stop them from doing. Look, that's not your job. That's not our job. If we say we trust God, we got to trust God. When God says fall back, you got to fall back. Easier said than done. So if you ignore God and you keep trying to make things happen, don't beat yourself up. Just keep being in tune to your convictions, and the time will come where it's the last time and you're finally going to say, you know what, okay, I bumped my head one too many times, let me just go sit my behind down somewhere. that's when God works, when you truly take your hands up off of it. If you're still trying to make things work in your own flesh, God will not move. So, something else is popping in my spirit right now. I don't know if you're doing this, sis, or somebody else is doing this. Please stop asking 35,000 people for answers and confirmations. Meaning you go to work and you ask 15 of your co-workers, what do you think God is saying about this? What do you think I should do here? What do you and then you call your pastor and your pastor gives you some kind of answer and you feel all like confident in your spirit, like, okay, my pastor just gave me an answer, I'm going to lock in on this, I'm just going to be still. And then tomorrow you're going right back to your co-workers, what do you think about this? You're calling your best friend, what do you think about this? You got 35,000 people giving you different answers. Some of these answers are based on their own personal experience. Some of these answers are based from just some toxic past relationships. When it comes down to God-sized blessings, you got to just lock on that thing, you and God, until he sends you to get wise counsel. But it's not going to be just from your random people. God will make clear to you who it is, because it's going to get very, very confusing, and God may be trying to really get you an answer, or may have given you an answer that's clear as day, and then he tells you to wait, but because you're tired of waiting, you go and get an answer from somebody else, they give you the wrong answer. Now you're back moving, you're back getting your hands at things, you're back doubting, you're back this. It can get very, very chaotic, and that's not where you need to be. You need to be at a place of peace, right? So be very, very careful bringing people into your stuff. Again, don't try to go chasing or calling or trying to prove that you're good and prove that you're the one. Fall back. Release your hands up off of that thing. Let God work. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. We're not God, right? If God has made you a promise, then it's up to God to be sure that that thing happens and manifests. Your only job is to be in alignment, to receive it when God opens the door. You can't make it happen. Only God can make it happen. You're just in alignment to receive. Again, pay very close attention to your convictions. If you're trying to do something or move along or whatever, when God starts shutting doors down, don't try to push past those doors because you're tired of waiting or you feel like you want to do something different. If God is making it clear to you, be still. Be still. Be very, very aware of counterfeits, because counterfeits can look very, very close. So you might meet a counterfeit and you be like, oh, well, maybe I never heard God right the first time, but I think I'm hearing God right now. You will know, counterfeits look very, very close, but God won't even allow a counterfeit to manifest fully unless you push past God convictions. Focus on you and your purpose right now. If it's God, that desire will come back at a different time, meaning it can still be in your spirit, But when the timing is right, that desire that you once felt at the very beginning, like it's a very profound desire. Like you can't, nothing else compares to it. Like it's almost like when the timing is right, God's timing is right, that desire will return fully. When the timing is right, it will find you. Meaning before, maybe you're trying to run behind it, you're trying to prove a point, you're trying to do this, or you're trying to do that. When the timing is right, and you've been in alignment to receive, meaning you've done everything God told you to do, let it be still, or whatever God told you to do. When the timing is right, it will literally find you. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.